Most talks we hear are totally forgettable. In fact, we have trouble recalling the main points, even within the first few minutes after the end of the talks. There is no dimension of memorability about the speaker or the message, so much for converting people to loving your company, product, or supporting you. Why is that? We are making some simple errors when we present. When corrected, we can address this problem speakers face of becoming irrelevant and insignificant the moment they finish their presentation. Welcome back to this weekly edition, every Tuesday of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, President of Dale Carnegie Training Japan and author of Japan Sales Mastery. We are bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center here in Akasaka in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Well, where is this cutting edge I refer to? For all of us, the quality of our people is the cutting edge for success in Japan. In this show, I will stimulate your thinking about ramping up your business, bring you insights from the best training organization on the planet, provide you with the highest quality Japan information, motivate you to motivate yourself and motivate those around you, and help you to shoot the lights out at results time. I don't want to just help you to succeed in your business, I want you to dominate. Before we get into this week's topic, here is what caught my attention lately. Be careful crossing the road and be careful when driving in Japan. The elderly are causing increasing numbers of traffic accidents. There were 418 fatal accidents last year caused by drivers aged 75 or older. Of those, 41% were vehicle collisions, 19% were hitting pedestrians and running into guardrails or falling into channels. And the remaining 40% were other factors. The highest cause were driver error, 31% hitting the accelerator instead of the brakes. Of the 385 drivers aged over 75 who caused fatal accidents, 28 were suspected of having dementia and 161 of having negative cognitive functions. Tougher screening measures for dementia have been introduced to try and resolve this problem. I am glad my wife's parents, who are in their mid-70s, have both stopped driving. It was always a scary experience in the car with them when they were driving. This is episode number 30, and we are talking about spellbinding speech endings. Soredewa ikimashou. So let's get going. It is rare to see a presentation completed well, be it inside the organization, to the client, or to a larger audience. The energy often quickly drops away, the voice just fades right out, and there's no clear signal that this is the end. The audience is unsure whether to applaud or is there more coming. Everyone's stuck in limbo, wondering what to do next. And the narrative arc seems to have gone missing in action at the final stage, and the subsequent silence becomes strained. It sometimes reminds me of classical musical performances where I'm not sure, is this the time to applaud or not? First and last impressions are critical in business and in life. So why leave these to random chance? We need to strategize how we will end, how we ensure our key messages linger in the minds of the listeners, and how we will have the audience firmly enthralled as our permanent fan base. Endings are critical pieces of the presentation puzzle, and usually that means two endings, not just one. These days it is rare that we don't go straight into some form of Q&A session once the main body of the talk has been completed. So we need an ending for the presentation just given, and we need another ending after the Q&A. Why the second one? Why not just let it end with the final question? The pro never lets that happen. Even the most knee-quivering, voice-choking, collar perspiration-drenched meltdown of a speaker is in 100% control when they have the floor. The audience usually lets them speak without denunciation or persistent interruption. Life changes, though, once we throw the floor open to take questions. At that point, speaker control is out the window and the street fight begins. Now, most Japanese audiences don't go after the speaker. They are too reserved and polite. Western audiences are less docile, and big bosses ask difficult and potentially embarrassing questions. So what should we do about this problem of how to finish when we are presenting? Find out more about this when we come back from the break. If you want to become a fully competent and confident presenter, then do the High Impact Presentations course. We are all being judged when we speak, be it in the internal team meeting or in a public environment. Be it the big bosses, clients, or an industry audience, everyone is evaluating us. Don't blow it. Get the best training on the planet. Do the High Impact Presentations course now in either Japanese or English. Welcome back. And we are looking at how we end the talk. When we get to the Q&A, the members of the audience are able to ask rude, indignant questions, challenging everything you hold to be true. They can denounce you as a charlatan, scoundrel, dilettante, and unabashed poser. Sometimes they even launch forth into their own mini-speech, usually unrelated to whatever it was you were talking about. Or they more likely will move the conversation off to a new place, which has nothing to do with your keynote content. Suddenly, your message is lost. The original topic of your talk is now a distant memory. That is why the pros ensure they bring it all back together with a final close to the proceedings. Let the masses wander hither and thither with their questions. The pro never worries. After the last question is done, the last word is now with the speaker, not some provocateur who happened to turn up at the event. Surprisingly, many speakers don't claim this right and allow the last question from the audience member to set the tone for the whole proceedings. Don't ever let that happen. There are a number of ways of bringing the speech home. In the first close, before the Q&A, we might hearken back to something we said in our opening to neatly tie the beginning and end together, or we might restate the key messages we wish to get across to the audience. Another alternative is a summary of the key points to refresh everyone's recollection of what we were saying. We might end with a memorable story that will linger in the minds of the audience that encapsulates all that we've wanted to say. Storytelling is such a powerful medium for increasing the memory of what has been said. You would expect more speakers would use it. When we do this wrap-up, we should be picking out key words to emphasize, either by ramping our voice power up or taking it down in strength to differentiate from the rest of what we are saying. Speaking with the same vocal power throughout just equates the messages together. The messaging is not clear enough and makes it hard for the audience to buy what we are selling. Bland doesn't sell. At the end of the final sentence, we need to hit the power button and finish with a rising crescendo to really put the passion behind our position. Don't fade away. Many speakers allow their voice to become weedy and just trail off into oblivion, sounding quieter and quieter at the end. They appear exhausted and energy drained, rather than on fire with belief. Instead of fading out, we need to bring energy to our final words, and we then add a small pause to let our words sink in with the audience, and then smoothly move into inviting audience Q&A. We've set the markers for what we want the audience to remember, and we will return to those markers as the second final comes up, the final conclusion. So don't miss this key point. Always specify the time available for Q&A at the start when you call for Q&A. Never, ever leave it open-ended. Why not? If you're facing a rabid gathering of foes, critics, and opponents, you just suddenly end proceedings and leave, it looks cowardly and weak, as if you can't take it when things get hot. Slinking off the stage with your tail firmly between your legs is not how you want to construct the final audience impression of you. By mentioning the amount of time available for Q&A at the first close and then referring back to it again at the end allows you to depart with your dignity intact. You said 15 minutes and here we are at time. No shirking going on here, just magnificent time management. Just suddenly ending, packing up and departing can make you look like a wimp, scurrying out the door because you can't take it. Not a great final impression. Also, if you are trained on how to handle a hostile audience, you will sail out of there looking like an absolute legend. Few people have any clue on what to do when under pointed attack. The rest of the audience will be looking at you in awe and admiration because they know if it had been them up there on the stage, they would have been mincemeat. If you've been in a room and the speaker got hit with a hot missile of a question, you were probably sitting there thinking, I'm glad that is not me up on that stage. By the way, we teach how to handle hot missile questions. If you're curious to know what to do when the gloves come off and all hell breaks loose, let us know. Now, back to our topic. The second or final close can be very similar to what we discussed earlier for the first close. Tie it all together or restate the key points or a summary. In addition, this is also the point to use a pertinent quotation or a gripping story to leave a rousing call to action in the minds of our audience. Again, the voice rises in strength at the end of the final sentence. Don't let it fade away. Once you end, end. Don't keep adding to it. When you get to the ending, when you get it right, you can then thank your audience so they are clear this is now over, and you can relax and bask in their warm applause. This is a good feeling and one that every speaker can enjoy if they know what they are doing. Here's some action steps from today. Carefully strategize the ending rather than leaving it to some random chance. 2, loop back to the beginning, hit the key message again, or summarize some key points. 3, always nominate a time limit when you call for Q&A. 4, prepare 2 closes, one each for the beginning and the end of your talk, and then at the final Q&A end. So keep pushing hard with us here at the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. Subscribe on YouTube. Share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Become a regular. Thank you for watching. And remember, hit the subscribe button. Our website details are on screen now, dalecarnegie.com. It is an awesome value website, so check it out. In episode 31, we are going to be talking about principled salespeople. Find out more about that next week. So, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. Until then, create seriously massive levels of success. We are here to help you do that. Dale Carnegie Training Japan has only one direction in mind for you and your business, and that is up. The bestseller, Japan Sales Mastery, is the new Bible of selling in Japan. To sell to Japanese buyers, you need to create long-term partner-level trust, fully understand Japanese buyers' real needs, convince buyers with your solutions, overcome their hesitation, fear and doubt, know how to ask for the order, ensure repeat orders. This book is the product of 30 plus years in the trenches selling in Japan. Order Japan Sales Mastery now.